This presentation's topic is on Jewtown in Chicago up until the 1970s, which is directly associated to a local street in Chicago area called Maxwell Street Market. Towards the mid 1970s, Jewish businesses were being taken over by new generations of immigrants. Chicago in the 1930s had the second largest American Jewish community at approximately 350,000 Jews. By 1959, it had the third largest community at approximately 282,000 Jews. By 1970, the population of the American Jewish community was approximately 251,000. This is about the time it stopped being called Jewtown and then known simply as the Maxwell Street Market. This historical photo from the Chicago Tribune displays business cards and stalls that were in full action in the spring of 1926. Maxwell Market was originally established in the city of Chicago in 1912. The Maxwell Market Street was relocated in 1994, a couple of blocks east of Canal Street, because of the expansion of the University of Illinois at Chicago. Thousands of Jewish immigrants moved to the area in search of jobs. Having a deeper look into the Maxwell Street Market, a Jewish merchant known as Sirocco Rayfield worked in Jewtown, grinding and selling horseradish for 20 years. The original photo is from the Chicago Tribune. The picture above is a map of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city in Israel and is one of the oldest cities in the world. When Israel was first established, it had the third largest Jewish population. This picture shows the city of Jerusalem, which is the largest city in Israel. The country of Israel is predominantly Jewish. Israel is located in the Middle East with bordering countries including Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. This image is the noble sanctuary known as the Dome of the Rock. Jewtown, originally populated mostly by Jewish immigrant families, has offered cheap shopping and entertainment for thousands of Chicago citizens and visitors since 1910. Only on Sundays was the market open and was the predecessor to the flea market culture in Chicago. In 1920, the first Israel Independent Jewish synagogue in Glencoe, and in 1952 relocated and opened on the North Shore of Chicago, called the North Shore Congregation of Israel. Israel Jewish immigrants founded congregations such as Cam and Sinai and went on to become business and public leaders and created amazing charitable and social service organizations. The picture above is of the Cam Temple in Chicago, in which a very noticeable representation of the Jewish culture. The Jane Addams Hull House was used as a settlement house for immigrants starting in the early 1900s. Its location was on Halsted Street, which is intersected with Maxwell Market Street. Many Jews needed to acclimate to the new lifestyle, and this settlement house allowed the newly arrived Jews to do so. Chicago blues originated on Maxwell Market Street when Jewtown attracted many immigrants, which also had a direct impact of the creation of Chicago blues historical music. The Jewish community encouraged immigrants to perform their music, which began in the 1920s. In the 1870s, the first wave of immigrant Jews moved to the Maxwell Market Street area. From the 1870s until about the 1920s, Jews were the predominant ethnic group. From the 1920s until about the 1970s, Jewish merchants controlled the marketplace. Many Jewish immigrants found work in the Chicago area, having jobs such as artisans, factory workers, and merchants. By the 1960s, the neighborhood of Jewtown changed a lot, similar to that of a flea market-like atmosphere, with a variety of items for sale such as antiques and various housewares. The Jewish Federation in Chicago created many beneficiary agencies, including the Chicago Israel Bonds and the Israel Consulate General for Midwestern States. In 1913, the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith was founded in Chicago to combat anti-Semitism. As Jewish immigrants moved to Chicago, they could not think of living amongst American society without the intermediary agencies created by the Jewish community, specifically in relation to the Anti-Defamation League. In 1871, the Great Chicago Fire started, only a few blocks away from the Maxwell Market Street. Luckily, the fire did not affect Maxwell Market Street because the flames burned in the opposite direction of Jewtown. Modern-day Maxwell Market Street is now located in Des Plaines, just north of Roosevelt. It's only open now on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and does not have the same economic impact as it did from the 1970s. The present-day marketplace is not what it used to be. Maxwell Market Street has continued to struggle economically since the collapse of Jewtown. A typical seller from the original Jewtown would earn approximately $2,000 to $3,000 every Sunday, whereas today a typical seller will only earn $200 to $300. In the year 2000, the American Jewish population in Chicago was approximately 270,000 people. This served as the fifth largest Jewish community in all of America. Ever since about the 1970s, the new Maxwell Market Street's population is no longer dominated by the Jewish community. Today, the primary ethnicity is made up of the Hispanic community.